Welcome to the Sharing Passion and Purpose podcast, a weekly podcast providing career and creative inspiration to help you build a purpose-filled life. If you're interested in tapping into your creative potential, pursuing a career with passion, and building on your biggest and best resource, yourself, please join me on this path. I'm your host, Nancy Moore, and I want you to know that I'm on this journey with you. So let's get started. Hi, everybody. Well, I have the fortunate privilege of introducing you to a woman who started a nonprofit here in Tulsa that is incredibly helpful to a lot of different people. Her name is Lisa Schatz, and she is working to gain more ground. And when I say gain more ground, you'll know what I'm talking about in just a second. Lisa has a heart for helping and a mind for data-driven results. Her considerable time spent in the classroom as a teacher, she has over 25 years of experience, provided insight into the importance of having access to summer reading material. As a former instructional reading coach for a local school, she could see notable digression in students' reading skills over the summer break who didn't have access to summer reading materials and weren't reading. And so she also could see the connection that it all boiled down to opportunity. And those students in economically disadvantaged communities lacked the opportunity in having access to this summer reading material or even books for that matter. So those areas are called reading deserts when they don't have access to that books or reading material. So that's when she and her colleague, Kirby Mackenzie, came up with an idea for a nonprofit called Gaining Ground Literacy. And together they realized they had the power to make a simple change that would provide a long-lasting impact. And so the simple change of getting books into the hands of children in these reading deserts has grown into this amazing nonprofit that helps students not only during the summer, but now it's evolved to even after school programming and a lot of different other things that now accompany the program. So it's an incredible opportunity for a lot of students in the Tulsa area, and we're excited that Lisa and Kirby are leading this amazing program. So without further ado, here is my conversation with Lisa. Lisa, thank you so much for being with us today. I actually had the opportunity to hear you at the Women in Communications annual, luncheon, and you spoke and it was amazing. And so I want other people to get to know you and what you're doing. So if you could kind of tell people a little about you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've been an educator for 26 plus years.
Yeah.
And I've done everything from classroom teaching to instructional coaching to reading specialist, and I actually worked for a publishing company for 10 years.
You did?
I did.
Okay.
Yes, I did professional development for one in the literacy area.
Okay.
And so then I came back to teaching, and I've never left since then. I have 3 amazing kids and 2 adorable grandkids, and yeah, that's about my world right now.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah.
Well, and part of your world is gaining ground literacy. And I was so fascinated when I heard you talk about it and your inspiration and that kind of thing. So if you could kind of tell people what gaining ground is and what you do for the Tulsa community and beyond, actually.
Absolutely. Gaining Ground was a grassroots movement that my partner, Kirby Mackenzie, and I had. I actually attended a conference, and Dr. Richard Allington, who I've followed all my literacy life, teaching life, just was speaking very passionately about summer reading loss. And at the time, we were at a school that I was the instructional coach, and so I did all the data, and so I could see that we would grow kids as readers all year, and then May would hit, and then we would do the data when they came back from summer break, and almost without fail they would slide back in their literacy skills and their reading levels, and it's all because we knew, because of access to books and the opportunity for summer enriching activities. So these kiddos didn't have the opportunity. So we started in my husband's old beat up truck, and we loaded up the library books, and we went out one summer with minor success. We had repeat kiddos, and those repeat kiddos that we found of our students, if they came to see us and checked out books, they didn't slide back. And that was on a very small scale. So the next year we fought and we got a grant. And so what we did is we brought in Scholastic Book Fair, and we said, if we want kids to have home libraries, we know that they need to have choice of books, they need to have high quality books, and they need to have books that represent them. So we brought in Scholastic Book Fair, and every student got to choose 10 new books to go home to begin their home library. And then we, that year we borrowed a van from the district, and we loaded it up, and we started seeing kids coming out every single week. And then the years went by, and Ellen DeGeneres bought our school a book van. And so we went out the next year. And so as the data guru of gaining ground, I would constantly be looking at, we weren't gaining ground then, I should back up, we're still teachers in the classroom, and I was watching this data, and it was hard fast. Every time kiddos came 5 or more times to our book bus, they did not slide back as readers. So my partner Kirby and I went, we know how to keep kids and ensure that they keep their literacy skills that they've had all throughout the year. And so we founded Gaining Ground. And so we did it as full-time teachers, both of us, for the first 3 years. And the way Gaining Ground works is very unique. We're not just a random book bus that goes out and finds kids. We know that the research says that kids need books from birth to, the time they get out of school, and they need a consistent avenue to get those books, and they need the opportunity to get those books. So we partner with schools. So we've chosen North Tulsa as one of our focus areas, and East Tulsa as one of our focus areas. And so when we partner with a school, we come in and say, we're going to provide every student in this school with 10 books every single year at the end of the year. So they get to choose books of choice. And I keep saying that because it's very important. And books that are culturally representative of them and that they can see themselves in. And so that's a very high priority of ours as well. So so in every partner they get to do that. They take that home, and then we do a book bus schedule. And we go into those neighborhoods every single week from the first day of June all the way to the end of July. We go once a week. So that's our book bus program. So as we grew and as we seen the successes of that program, we not only want to stop Summer Slide, but we also want to grow them as learners and critical thinkers, and grow their empathy and their problem solving abilities. So the way we do that is we do after school programs in each of our schools, and we model it after a project-based learning. We present the kids with a problem or an idea, and they get to research it through rich beautiful read alouds and books. And so it's a literacy program, but it's also a program that they get to grow their become activists in the community, and they get to critically think about something. And so we have after school programming, and then summer camp, which is our big event that we have every summer. Right now we have 210 kids in 6 different schools, and we ask the teachers from those schools. We hire them as the experts of their students. We train them in project-based learning and small group literacy instruction, and then we send them out with these rich experiences. And so all 210 kiddos got to go to AHA this summer, and they got to go to Woody Guthrie, and they got to have just this amazing experience with a hip-hop instructor. And then we partnered with AHA, and they sent artists to our schools to teach specific techniques of art. And so at the end, the kiddos get to choose whatever they want, whether it's art, music, or dance. And we have a big performance coming up this Thursday, and we call it the showcase. And so all the kids are going to come together from this very diverse background, come together as one, and share with the community the impact of their art on them and others.
Mm-hmm. See, that's incredible. And the difference that you're making has a ripple effect, because the parents also then are excited that their kids are learning and retaining, and the kids are excited to go to school, and then the teachers are happy to have them there. And, you probably see that. But what else have you seen from this program?
Just, we started as,
Because has it been going 4
years? This will be our 4th summer.
Okay.
Yeah, 4th summer.
Okay.
And what we see, and I guess this is just really hard to explain. So it's mainly a book bus observation. Sometimes when we go and start with a school, choice reading has not been a high priority in the school or in their homes. It is a lot of times, as we know, that children that come from lower socioeconomic backgrounds and communities, they tend to be sometimes behind as readers. Mm-hmm. So in school, and I did this as a teacher, so I am right there, and I know how this works, is we want so badly for them to grow as a reader inside the school building that sometimes we remove the one thing that we believe now that will grow them as reader, and that's choice of book. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes when we first see them on the bus, they almost have this mentality of they just grab whatever. You can just immediately know that they are not readers. They are not choosy readers. They don't know themselves as a reader. Mm-hmm. And so what we do, and all the people on our bus are teachers. Typically, and so we slow them down. The next time they come on the bus, we stop them and say, okay, which book did you read last week? And the first week, it's usually I didn't read any of them. Mm-hmm. And then by the time we say, okay, what do you like? And we kind of do this questioning with them and try to drill them down into what is it that you love. We give them that one book and send them off. And within 4 weeks, it's like they come on and go, do you have the next one? Do you have something else about horses? Or do you have something else with Dogman? And so it's all of a sudden when you give them choice and when you talk to them about their books and you help them find their inner passion, then we see them blossom as readers. Mm-hmm. And it's not just reading for academic purposes. It is reading for pleasure. Mm-hmm. And they're beginning to develop those stories in their head that you and I automatically do when we read. Mm-hmm. And we have the background knowledge to understand the books we're reading. Mm-hmm. And that is the big change that we see in most of our readers when we start in a community.
Mm-hmm. That's so neat.
Yeah.
So can I ask then, because people who are teachers and still are passionate about kids and helping kids don't go and start a whole thing where they're driving a van around, and getting people engaged and that kind of thing. So what was it about, how did you feel so passionately about it that you were so interested in taking another step with your life, mm-hmm. putting other things on hold to go out during the summer and deliver books and get the books and all of that? So what is it in you that you decided to get that going?
I don't know. I just think that the answer was right in front of us.
Yeah.
It was like we read the research. We saw these programs that worked other places. And when you have the answer in front of you, and when you also see the devastation in the school of kids just devastated when they come back from summer, that they've slid back. Mm. You see it in their eyes. They work so hard and throughout the year to grow mm-hmm. as readers and learners, and then you just see it in their eyes, and it's like, we've got to do something. And when something boils down to opportunity, mm-hmm. they just don't have the opportunity mm-hmm. to have access to books. Mm-hmm. I mean, to me, that should be a right for every child on this earth, is to have access to high quality books. And that's not the typical. And when you look at book deserts, and when you study book deserts, and you see the statistics that they put out, that when you have a family that lives at 101st and Riverside in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and 89% of those families in that area report that they have 100 books or more. And when you go to the neighborhoods, let's say, Martin Luther King Boulevard and 36th Street North, and 5% of families say that they have 100 books or more, it's not an achievement gap. It's an opportunity gap. The families just haven't had the opportunity. And so when you see that, and you know you can do something about it, you've got to do something about it. I mean, there's no other choice. And I think that's what our driving force is that we know that this works, and we know that every family home needs 100 or more books to make an impact in their academic life. Then that's what we have to do. We just have to get them the books and work with them and be a partner with their families and build that relationship within all the communities that we're in. And so that's what grows them as readers, learners, critical thinkers, and world changers. So yeah, we didn't feel like we had a choice.
I think it's so neat the scale you're taking it to, because starting with just giving a kid 10 books and then working with them throughout the summer and probably the next summer, and now you've been doing this 4 summers, but now you're even talking about to the level of a world changer. So, and I believe that's also true, that when you're getting these kids to think about things and get excited about things and just influence them, so, in that positive way,
right,
that it again has that ripple effect where it just helps everybody. So
one of the questions I often ask kids is, especially throughout the summer and even in our programming too, have you ever had a book make you cry? And most of the time the answer is no when they first start with us, because that's an empathy, right? You have to have empathy with characters in order to have them impact you emotionally. And they haven't had that opportunity. So, we give them books that we know that are going to make them cry. The One and Only Ivan. If you can read The One and Only Ivan without tears, then we need to have a conversation. So when you start and you talk to them about it, and in our programming we do read alouds with those kinds of books, and we talk about characters' impact and emotional growth throughout a book, then the kids can see, oh, that mirrors my life. And I can have empathy with this character because that is how my life is. Or that they can, cry when one of the characters dies. Or that's the empathy that we want to build in all of our students that we work with.
And you're helping, though, kindergarten through seniors in high school even?
Well, we typically, we help birth. Because we work with the families. And so at our book fairs this year, we surveyed all of the families how many kids are at home. And so we also provided those kids with books as well. So we want birth through typically 8 or 9 years old. That's kind of our focus. But we also go all the way to Monroe Middle School, and which is I'm a former middle school teacher, so I love those kiddos. But because Monroe is our destination school, our big goal, our first level goal, is to take all 7 elementary schools that feed into Monroe. And so those are our next partnerships around, throughout the years, is so that, we imagine this world that all of these kids, all thousands of kids, have had books from birth all the way through 6th, 7th grade. And we know the impact that's going to make. We can see it, and we want them in our programming. So we want consistent opportunity and access for all of these kids as they grow towards Monroe Middle School. Or Monroe demonstration. The same idea focus is in our other district union. And so we have Ellen Ochoa and McAuliffe. And so there's several other in the same area that we want to start adopting as well and partnering with, and to grow the partnership in that district as well.
So how many schools do you have under your umbrella right now then?
We have 6.
Okay.
We have 6 schools. And we'll probably grow a school. We try to do a school a year. It is, and I tell everybody this, it's very expensive what we do.
Well, I want to talk to you about that too. Yes.
It is. I don't want to say it's expensive. It's no different than the opportunities that the kids from families with disposable income. Mm-hmm. It's the same opportunity that so you have to kind of equate it that way. Mm-hmm. Kids don't get to go to private tutoring when you don't have disposable income. Mm-hmm. And so that's where we step in. So we want to provide that for them. And so when we take on a new school, it's a very much a large investment for us, but it's also a long-term commitment. So when we go for funding, we make it clear with our funders, who are incredible. All of our funders are just so supportive, that this is a long-term commitment, and so we want to be with this school for the next 10, 15 years to get all these kids everything they need to be successful, not only academically, but socially, and we really want them to find their passions along the way as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think you're enabling that for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
It is. It's fun to see. We have something that happened just last week that we provided this opportunity. Again, it's all about opportunity. It's not, Gaining Ground is just the orchestrator, and it's the teachers in each of our partner schools that make the magic happen. Mm-hmm. And it's because they take our curriculum and they make it theirs, and then they fit it to their kids. And so the magic happens inside the classrooms and inside these schools. Mm-hmm. But last week we provided an opportunity to go to a hip hop studio, and one of the girls just didn't want to leave. She had never had the opportunity to be in a dance class. And so she came back and said, "This is what I want to do. I want to dance." And so my teacher leader at that site said, "Let's make it happen." And so we're going to make it happen.
Oh my gosh.
I know we're going to find funding, and we're going to get her dance lessons at this hip hop studio.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. Okay, yeah. So tell me though, how people, when you say we're going to find funding.
Yes.
So how do you find funding? And I know you said you talked about the grant you partner with Scholastic, which is amazing, but how can people in the Tulsa community and possibly beyond maybe help if, there are needs, if you could kind of explain that?
Yeah, our big needs, of course, are books is a huge need that we always have. And so there are so many generous people that want to donate books. And so we used to take a ton of donated books, and we love donated books, but we have this kind of criteria. They have to be within like the last 3 years, and they need to be somewhere between birth and, elementary school, and they need to be in just really good condition. Otherwise, that we don't typically take the donations. Mm-hmm. And also we need to have them culturally diverse. Mm. And so that is another reason we kind of backed off on taking just a ton of donations, because again, we believe representation matters. And when we go into communities of color and they walk on the bus and nobody looks like them on the shelves, that's a big problem for us. So we stock our shelves so that anyone can see themselves in at least 2 or 3 books on our bus. And so the big thing is, we have a donation button on our website, and just, if you wanted to sign up for $10 a month and just have a reoccurring donation, you can do that. $10 will buy 2 books. So if you think about it that way, that you're providing kids just with new books, you can donate to our fundraiser on September 10th, which is Rock and Read, and it's at the bar 473, and it's a karaoke night, and you can go there and you can buy tickets. You can donate just money to that. You can volunteer. That's always go on our website and sign up as a volunteer. we're always looking for, like this Thursday, we needed volunteers to help set up the art show. So you can go on our website and do that. Our website holds all of that information. And so if you want to go to just gaininggroundliteracy.org, that is where you can find all this information.
Okay, good. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Hopefully people then will check that out. And I'm glad that you provide opportunity, because other people listen outside of Tulsa and Oklahoma that would maybe have that on their hearts to donate a little money so you can purchase some books. So okay, so you have so many things that you're involved in, and I know you put your heart into this organization. Yes. I mean, it's apparent, and I can tell how excited you are. But what do you do to unplug?
This has just been all-consuming for so many years, and I love it, and I wouldn't have it any different. But I will say, ever since I've had grandkids, I think that they're my unplug. They are the ones that they both live out of state, but so I travel quite a bit to see them. But we also have big gardens, like organic gardens, and we grow veggies, and so that's a unplug for me to go out and work with that. I love to hike and bike, and always love a good glass of wine. So
same.
Those are my unplugs.
Yeah. I think I'm the same, although I don't have a big organic garden. So getting your hands, in the dirt and just being outside and that kind of thing. Yes. I'll go out just at my house and pull weeds and that kind of thing, and I feel like that's relaxing to me. So anyway, I always like to ask, because people who are getting things done and so driven, and it is exciting because you're in it, but also you need a chance to just kind of decompress, sometimes. So anyway, I always like to ask about that. So my last question that I always ask people is, what are you passionate about right now? So do you have something that you're, and it might be Thursday's event.
It is Thursday's event right now. I think my passion it's more of a mission, possibly, is to educate the public on what this perceived achievement gap. And really, it's an opportunity gap. When you don't have the opportunities of others, it sets you back. And you don't have the opportunity to have enrichment, and you don't have the opportunity to have books, and you don't have the opportunity to have one-on-one experiences with mentors. I think that we just need to step back our thinking and say, okay, we have got to not equalize the opportunity, but recognize that the disparity in our schools isn't from lack of trying. It isn't the family's problem. It isn't the parents' problem. It is an opportunity problem. And for me, that is my passion right now, is to help people understand that.
Okay, you do a good job talking about it and doing what you're doing to make such a big difference. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you. This is fun.
Good. I hope so. It was fun visiting with you. So thank you, Lisa. Okay, everybody, that's a wrap on this week's episode. I want to thank you for listening to the Sharing Passion and Purpose podcast. It means the world to me, and I'd love to connect with you. Please follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Sharing Passion and Purpose, and Twitter at Passion Sharing. Also, if you like this podcast, it would mean a lot to me for you to subscribe, rate, and review it. And as always, all my show notes will be available on my website, sharingpassionandpurpose.com.